highlights for Vic Super. Vic Super's conscious investment option. Super that makes a difference.
Voice of 3AW football, Tim Lane.
Joe winds up, goes long and rams it home. Danaher intelligently waits down. Crumbs, runs, 2 bounces, steadies from 40. Oh, it kicks. If the first one was a contender, that is first prize.
Like Usain Bolt.
Essendon, Jim, at the moment have got this Carlton defence on the rack.
They're big, the Essendon forwards.
Hand pass in space for Waller to run onto. He paddles, he collects, he loses it, he gets it onto his boot, and somehow or other he conjures a magical goal.
5:35 Essendon at quarter time. Carlton 2-1-13 across Australia, all thanks to KFC. And your nearest KFC, whether it's the flatbread sliders, everything is finger-licking good. 5:35 Essendon, 2-1-13 Carlton. A couple of goals to Joe Danaher. Magnificent individual performance. A ripper from McDonald, Tip and Woody sets up the lead. It is a 31-point margin to the Giants, all thanks to Vodafone. Power to you with Brett Delidio, 4 touches. For Elmore Oil, though, big injury news first quarter for Essendon. Not only for today, but going forward, Dr. Peter Larkins.
I heard you mention Ripper, and I thought you were going to do my segment there, Tony, because that's what Horatio Fantasia's done to his right hamstring, a Ripper. He was bursting through the middle there. Just changed his boots a couple of minutes before that. He wanted more speed out of the flashy boots, and all he got was a ping to right hamstring. Looks fairly high grade. Obviously, scans will tell them how much tendon is involved. The tendon's the real thing that we don't like in a hamstring injury. He's not going to play the home and away season for sure, so at least that amount of time out.
One stat each, please, for Canterbury Timber Windows at windowsanddoors.build. Your stat that sums up the first quarter, Jim, then yours, Lee.
Probably for me, Essendon 14 inside 50s for 10 scores, just been much more effective going forward.
Lee?
That was mine. I'll go to the other end. Carlton have had 9 for only 3 scoring shots. So the efficiency when they get to the end of the ground, Essendon are just blitzing Carlton.
We start the second quarter for RACV Business Insurance, Essendon by 22.
Blues to the city end, and they work it to Murphy, who was subdued in the opening term. He finds space, but he kicks straight to the wrong coloured jumper, and Gleeson intercepts at centre half back.
Jim, how many for Goddard first quarter, please?
He's had 11 early, 7 kicks, 4 handballs.
Gleeson messes up the kick. Gave Petrevski Seaton a chance. Parrish made a spoil. Socket Carlton's way by Wiedering and Thomas Markson between centre and half forward. Bombers 35, Blues 13. Thomas, a low stabbing ball into the forward pocket, so coolly marked by Hartley. Third in line for the Dons, goes back via the enemy goal square, and Bagley takes the mark.
So closer to full-back, Bagley has it for the Bombers. They're going to the punt road end, Essendon. They start the quarter 22 points in front to half-back on the northern side. Hook of the target, can't get there. Wiedering, Petreski Seaton, back to Wiedering at half-forward, 60 out, back to Petreski Seaton. They've lost ground. They hung on to it. Petreski Seaton flirts too dangerously with the boundary, and it is out on the full. Free kick, hooker at half-back on the northern side. A minute gone. RACV Business Insurance bringing you the second quarter. 13 RACV, the number to call. It's Essendon 5-5-35. Carlton 2-1-13 as Hooker has it. Just almost chips the ball. Allows Danaher to run onto it. Ball carries the pack. Green there for Essendon. Picks it up. Good honest chase though by Armfield. Forces him out of bounds. Doc, a little bit more substantial, if you'd be so kind, for Elmore Oil. So Fantasia gone for the day, and you're really worried about it?
Oh, I think it's more high grade. We talk about grades being low, medium or high. High grade looks more muscle tendon rather than off the bone, but he really could hardly walk, so very high grade hamstring injury.
And what about Danaher? Danaher reached for the back of his leg, but he hasn't come off.
No, he just had a little bit. He did jar that area of the knee in the first quarter, and he got a bit of attention, but he seems to be all right.
So Cruiser got a free kick, but only kicked at 20 metres. Goddard involved, Watson involved, all at half-back, Zaharakis, then Myers. High kick to a contest, close to the wing. Cruiser has to go at it, unable to complete the mark at his feet. Goddard picks it up, lost it in a tackle. Simpson, good tackle by Green. You spoke about the defensive effort, Lee. There you are. That's what you wanted.
But that's exactly the pin arm tackle. But it was a pin arm tackle, but he just made sure that when they went to ground, he wasn't going to bang his head on the turf, his opponent, which was Simpson.
From the ball up, there's some aerial ping-pong. Pickett for the Blues, away from goal to Gibbs, who swings a curler off the instep into half forward. It curled too far for everyone and landed untouched. Bombers turn it over here, giving Fisher a chance for the Blues. He kicks to the top of the goal square. It takes a horrible bounce out to the forward pocket for a throw-in. I saw the absolute reverse of that from Monica during the first quarter. The Giants got a goal, which you'll see on your TV screens later, I'm sure, where it looked as though it was going to miss by a mile, but took a giant turn and went through.
Carlton into attack. Forward pocket City in, trail by 22 points. As Cruiser tries to barge through, he's knocked off the ball. Essendon through Merritt, forced to keep it alive. Still dangerous. Chance at half forward. Doherty can't get it. Green busy. Won it at halfback. Gave to Zaharakis, to Danaher, to Green. Working really well, Josh Green. Looping high handball. Goes to Hartley. Retreats just a fraction to Gleeson. To set it up, got a choice of two, middle of the ground, and the mark taken by Howlett.
Can pass to Zaharakis. He has Myers running forward gleefully, saying, come on, land with me. It does. And he kicks to full forward, where Stewart didn't quite take a mark and didn't quite get a free kick. Jones mops up for the Blues, but kicks badly. Straight to Hooker, who's been a factor in this match, playing as a tall key forward. And the Bombers have a real menu up forward. They're a significant team in this year's contest. Hooker places his kick, misses everything. There's a whistle. There's a Bomber free kick, I think, or is it play on?
Everyone stopped.
I think the sun got in the eyes of a few of the players, but there was whatever was going on. The umpire paid a free kick
against Joe Danaher, and a 50-metre penalty because they went on. But
Parish
none of us
on.
had a clue. No. The umpire's assuming the players knew a bit more than we did.
Well, it was against Parish for coming over and blocking. He turned his back completely on the play to allow Danaher to run up and get the ball, but he also ended up with the footy and gave away the 50.
So Plowman, instead of being closer to the defensive goals, almost brought up into the middle for the Blues. They trail by 22 points, Carlton, as Plowman's kick tough forward. I don't know whether the players are losing it in the sun, but basically just being allowed to run and grab it without any issue. Bell Chambers then, Jim. And it was almost as if it was the reverse of what happened up the other end.
Yeah, he went uncontested there. He thought Cruiser must have lost it because he just pulled out of the contest.
Bell Chambers to Goddard, kick astray, and Wiedering comes in and takes the mark. So Carlton, if they can land one here, get themselves back in the game. Wiedering, that's better. Easy, quick, sharp run at the ball. Levi Casbolt has it, and he is dead in front, 35 metres out. And again, the game's almost being played with the handbrake on at the moment, Lee.
Yeah, well, actually, but the tall forwards, I mean, basically up the punt road end, the sun is actually in the eyes of the players there, but up the city end, no sun to concern themselves with there. And Casbolt had the run at the footy. Sometimes in that kind of zoning, half zoning, they lose the defensive matchup and allow the forward actually fairly much unaccessed.
For Carlton's third goal, Casbolt lay back on the kick, pushed it way right from 35, one behind. 2-2-14, the Blues trailing Essendon 5-5-35 for RACB Business Insurance as the Giants skip away, lead to a 43-point margin.
Yeah, no, they're well in control in Canberra. Well, Carlton they're setting up some opportunities, but the ability to sort of run and carry the footy, the Essendon have got a few blokes who can do that. Carlton haven't really.
Hurley, long ball, but intercepted by Liam Jones. Getting forward at the centre, marking it about 75 metres out. He places it, I'm not sure for whom, because he's only managed to find McKenna.
50. But they're not happy with Casbolt.
His teammates or his opponents?
Maybe both.
Both. Yeah. He didn't get there, but I think he might have collected merit on the way through after the mark was taken.
It's taken by Ambrose, not McKenna, and Essendon will build. His 50-metre penalty brings him to the middle. He just swings it across towards the members' wing where Zaharakis has space for a wide turning circle and a kick to Parish, forward to the centre line. He gets on with it quickly. He kicks to within 30 of goal. Jones did well there. Danaher seemed to think somebody else was going to fly, so he didn't commit to the contest, and Jones, his opponent, did. Marks and clears and finds Doherty high at half-back.
At 7 minutes gone, he goes closer to centre half-back. Gibbs beyond Petrescu's seat. No, well done. Got the right hand up, controlled the ball above the head, and took a really neat mark in the finish, Petrescu Seaton. It's a 21-point margin. He goes to half-back, to Doherty, short to Daisy Thomas. 8 minutes gone, 35-14. He goes short again to Murphy, not the required distance, has to handball it straight out of bounds. Umpire says toss it in. Right in front of you, Doc Larkin's on the boundary for Elmore Oil.
Yeah, The skipper there, Dyson Heppel, claiming that it was deliberate, but I think that was just knocked away. So boundary throw in there, and the sunshine still on the outer side. Very nice.
Bombers 35, Blues 14. Dull second quarter so far. Essendon's ball. Howlett gives to Zaharakis. Mown down by, it might have been Smets who got him. It was, and forces a ball up on the centre line.
Dull's being very kind to him.
It is.
The mum's found 4-day-old vegetables in the fridge and she's trying to whack something half decent up and it's just not happening.
Keep going, Tony.
Well, it's won by Essendon. Bit of cohesion to help, boys, not only in the commentary but also on the field. As Zaharakis over the top goes to Merritt. Up the ground he goes to the feet that time of Danaher going forward. Doesn't take it. Plowman drew high contact, not seen by the umpire at half back. And we get another stoppage, Jim. This time Essendon 50 out, Punt Road in front of their goals. They lead by 21 points for RACV Business Insurance.
Yeah, to say there's a lull in the game is a bit of an understatement. Carlton try and just play that kick mark possession game, and that's reflective with the stats. Doherty and Wiedering leading with 11 each.
Cruiser tapped it to a pack where we get a stoppage. Let's go around the grounds for Vodafone. It is now a 42-point margin in favour of the Giants, 67-25. 9 minutes gone here. 21 points is Essendon's margin. No goals yet to show. Belchambers, the tap. Heppel, roved. Handball to half forward, missed by Zaharakis. Cleaned up by Kerridge, whose handball missed and then his teammate fell over. As Bokhurst too slow to get rid of it. Should be an Essendon free kick at half forward. It's not. Zaharakis picks it up, kicks it into Murphy. Dropped that time by Marchbank. Players crashing really well. And we get another stoppage.
That was the washed-out cabbage phase of play,
oh,
Tone.
The amount of times mum's tried to do something and say it's good food, eat it, and it's still 4-day-old vegetables that you didn't eat 4 days ago. This is what we've got here after 9 minutes. McDonald, Tip and Moody tries to knock it away. He goes to ground. Collier has it, tackled, lost it. Ball at half forward, 55 metres out as we get another stoppage. So I reckon if you like stoppages, Lee, you are absolutely loving this first 10 minutes.
Well, there hasn't been a whole lot of free kicks being paid either, I don't think.
No.
So in terms of clearing it, it tends to be stoppage after stoppage to a degree.
Something good coming now. It's Carlton trailing by 22 points. Essendon, Carlton get a free at half-back. Sorry, Tim, for the false alarm. No, nothing good happening.
No, free kick to Murphy for the Blues at half-back. I reckon our RACV Business Insurance man from those ads, he'd like stoppages.
He would love this at the moment.
He'd like counting them as the Blues work the ball across half-back to Liam Jones, who kicks for pick. A big ask for him, though, with a couple against him, and they're both bigger. He fights on, and he forces a ball up just Carlton's side. On the members' wing as Zach Merritt just slips a little one into Lockie Plowman's midriff.
Love tap.
And Lockie comes away probably feeling as though, such as a footballer's sense of pride, he's got to make it look as though it continues to pain him. Carlton's ball, Kerridge has it, a little grubber in towards half forward, and it's very well won by Pickett for Carlton, who spins out of trouble. He centres, hoping for Lamb, who crashes into Brendan Goddard's back and gives away a free kick. It's the Bombers' ball out beyond the goal square, and they want 50, but they're not going to get it because that would just be a little bit too exciting.
So Goddard has it. He kicks long. Hooker's got a nice easy run at it this time. A little bit of a knock away by Liam Jones means Carlton have the ball at half forward. Myers too slow. Handballs to Heppel, half back. Great ground level win by the skipper. Little handball was excellent to Parrish. 40 up the ground. He's got his man. Danaher's going to miss though. Coming in, intercept mark taken by Doherty's neck. And they get him on the bounce. Going forward. No, Heppel half intercepted. Couldn't complete the mark. Pickett of Carlton's got it. Short pass is on and it's going to be okay this time. And low down. Matthew Wright's got it. Hard half forward right at the city end, Lee. 45 metres out, lining up for Carlton's third goal.
At least they lowered their eyes and found the forward 50 target. Anything like a high ball in there. I mean, Casbolt might get on the end of a high ball every now and again for Carlton, but mostly the Essendon defence has been covering those plays really easily. So hitting up the short, trying to set up the little short pass.
Well,
set shot at goal. That's their go.
In defence of Carlton, Essendon haven't really gone on with it in this quarter. Goal here from Wright, who's a goal kicker. It's tough enough. Means we get the margin back to 15 points. Ball's on its way, trying to shape it right to left. Did it successfully. Well done, Matthew Wright. 3-2-20 the Blues, trailing Essendon 5-5-35. And that is all for RACV Business Insurance. They can tailor the right cover to suit your needs.
Yeah, there hasn't been too many better value for trades, Lee, in recent years. They would have got him for not much at all. He led the goal king last year. Again, this year he's been lively across their forward line, and he's got a bit more class and a few more tricks than most people expected.
Gets on the end of it well, doesn't he? Certainly, if they can get over the top of the defence, he's the first one back. But no, he's been useful.
Just having a look at the Yarra Valley Toyota replay of Zach Merritt and Lockie Plowman. It was a fair old swing by Merritt. I mean, he had the stiff arm back and he gave it the full arc. Not sure whether the contact was really sweet or whatever you'd call it, but it will have to be looked at one way or another. From the ball up, Carlton take it wide and Boakhorst has it out towards the southern side, well corralled by Parrish. Boakhorst waits until there's a hand pass option, which he gave to Thomas, but it all came unstuck. But now it gets stuck together again because the Bombers kicked it straight to Doherty behind the wing and he goes further back. Plowman takes the mark. Almost felt as though that right goal, skillful as it was, ruined everything. We'd had one behind in about 12 and a half minutes. In a perverse kind of way, there was something compelling about it. The Blues work it short and Kerridge takes a mark between halfback and wing.
Lee would have taken it back to a very wet Glenferrie.
Yes, well, the thing is all year, though, Carlton's ability to stop the opposition scoring, that's really what they've been pretty good at. And they don't look like 10 goals is their average. They don't look like kicking more than 10 goals in a game, but the opposition have started to find their way through. But this is a bit of a throwback to early in the year. They've actually defended well, made it really hard for Essendon to generate a scoring shot.
Yep, it's only down to 15 points as Essendon certainly got to 4-goal lead and beyond. Low scoring second quarter. 15 minutes gone. Ball on the wing. Casbolt. That's a nice, confident lead and a good pack grab. Now, this is the kick that counts. He just floats one high. Inside attacking 50. Good body work. Curnow. Magnificent body work. Curnow wanted to give the handball off. Changed his mind. And basically from where Matthew Wright kicked the goal, and that is 45 metres out, 45-degree angle, northern side to the city end. This is an opportunity for Curnow to get it under 2 goals.
It'll take a few marks if Conor McKenna's his opponent under the footy. He's got about a foot on him. Much bigger overhead if he can actually get that matchup every now and again.
A little shape of right to left. He starts at too far right for mine to bring it round. It's coming round late, but not enough. 3-3-21 the Blues, trailing Essendon 5-5-35, who've not scored in 16 minutes of football. That's on the Ray White clock. 16 gone in the second quarter. Half time at Canberra. It is GWS having a 36-point margin and pretty much in control on the back of 8 unanswered goals in the first quarter.
The Bombers clear the ball out beyond the 50. Green Roves gives to Danaher, a hand pass in front of Heppel. Corralled by Plowman, forced to retreat. Merritt, after a spell on the boundary, is back. He gives away from Golden Myers, whose kick is chopped off by Simpson for the Blues. A hand pass to Murphy. He improvises a little kick to Wright, who went low. The tackle came high. And it's a free kick to the Carlton man. Man on the mark, 45 out, straight in front. And the Blues, it can be said, are almost back in this game.
Anything showing up for Canterbury Timber windows there? We know it's slow going at the moment, Jim, but more fair play to Carlton to really continue to make it a contest.
Yeah, they're taking the pace out of the game. They've got that kick marking going on across half-back with Doherty 14 possessions, Wiedering 11, Thomas pushing back and Kerridge 10 each.
It's not exciting to watch, but Carlton fans won't mind that if the Blues can keep nibbling away. And this from Wright has the potential to put them within 8 points. From just inside 50, it puts them within 13 points. He missed to the right. Essendon 5-5-35, Carlton 3-4-22. The Bombers anchored. They haven't scored in almost 17 minutes in this second quarter.
Oh, McKenna's kick in wasn't good. Gibbs came through. They can't quite finish it off as the handball went back to McKenna to Hurley against the boundary line, back pocket. He kicks it as far away as he can. Liam Jones has got the mark though, Tim, between wing and half forward. Carlton to go forward again. And maybe they just sense a tiny little opening at the moment, the Blues. Trail by 13 points. Jones has got the footy, goes long.
Dare I say it, they're almost all over them at the moment. Kick to full forward, no one can mark. Taken by Bagley, gang tackled. Petrevski-Seaton prized it out, gave to Gibbs. Snapped to the goal square, and it's put through by Wright, who juggled the mark He was overbalancing, but he kept his feet and realised he was virtually standing on the goal lines. He has 2, and Carlton, who were being massacred in the opening quarter, are within 7 points. The Bombers 5-5, the Blues 4-4 on the ever-entertaining RACV Business Insurance.
Doc Larkins for Elmore Oil.
Yeah, Jack Silvani running to the bench, cradling his right arm very heavily. Just have a look at the incident and see whether it's shoulder or arm, but Silvani off at the moment to be assessed.
And Essendon's woes, please.
Yes, just Fantasia, right hamstring, first quarter out of the game.
Jim Bartell, 3AW football all for KFC. Carlton have got it back to a 7-point deficit.
Yeah, and they've changed the inside 50s around. They've gone inside 50 10-5 this quarter. But Essendon, when they had it on their terms in the first quarter, they've got to get back to winning the ball.
Bell Chambers taps, no clearance. Gibbs got it. Little handball to Thomas. Southern side wing to Doherty. Tries to caress one just beyond Cruiser. Bounce will favour him though. So he's got the ball. A left foot scrabbly old kick is awful. And that's not only is that bad English, it befitted the kick.
Cruiser would be a pretty handy Scrabble score though,
He would indeed. Merritt, get the ball to Myers, then to Goddard, great kick to Green, going back, fly to the ball for the Bombers. Forward pocket right lead, punt road end 30 out for the Bombers.
Bit of turnover football really. Essendon turned the ball over a few times. That's enabled Carlton to sort of get forward on the rebound, and basically then that Cruiser kick, as you so aptly described it, was a scungy, mungle left footer that went straight to Merritt, back in towards the centre corridor, and then all of a sudden Essendon were off.
So Essendon have not scored in 19 minutes of football, but still have a 7-point lead. There's a score coming up as Josh Green scored 1 in the first quarter, 30 out, keeps it low, and he actually stabbed at it and missed right one behind. 5-6-36 the Bombers, Carlton 4-4-28. 20 minutes gone, second quarter for RACV Business Insurance. It's nothing if not even at the moment, Tim, to be fair, and Carlton bring the ball in, go long.
I reckon the Bombers need a Kevin Sheedy rev up at half-time. Simpson kicks long, but Stewart's in the way for the Bombers. 65 out, a stabbing ball into the 50. Carlton are clogging it up well. Collier's got it though, he snaps a little left footer. Simpson gets back at the death and breaks away out through the southern back pocket. Couple of bounces, almost reaches defensive 50. Then he kicks into a smother. Howlett's got it for the Bombers. Loose men queuing up. No one able to mark. Watson receives though. He snaps and he misses. And everything Essendon touches in this quarter is turning to stone. It's 5-7-37 to the Blues 4-4-28 on the RACV Business Insurance score.
Yeah, error riddled, but seems to have just gone up a little notch as Carlton short and effective on the kick into Petreski-Seaton. Between fullback and centre halfback, defensive 50. He will go wide. And the mark at halfback, Cade Simpson, the general down there. Looks to an option on the southern wing. He goes in that direction. Charlie Curnow late to get there. Ball knocked away by Heppel, wanting the boundary line, and finds it. Neutral territory, southern side wing. 5-7-37 the Bombers. Carlton 4-4-28. Ray White clock. We're 21 minutes into the second quarter, but there hasn't been a great deal of scoring. Still 5 minutes of playing time to half-time. It is a 36-point margin. The Giants over Melbourne in Canberra, and they're at half-time as Bell Chambers from the back taps to Merritt. Busy knocks it into the path of Heppel, southern wing. Handball defeat of Bell Chambers to Merritt by hand. Will it come off? No, it doesn't. Chance for Kerridge. He's run to centre half forward and beyond. He's gone long. May have been able to go just a fraction further. And the ball goes out of bounds. Been in good position now, Jim, against the behind post. Carlton deep into attack at the city end.
Yeah, 60 metres out. You've got to know your limitations. He wasn't going to kick that 60 metres. Should have lowered the vision and hit Bryce Gibbs coming up at him from the goal square.
I was wondering, Jimmy, was it a deliberate ploy to go for the boundary close to the behind post?
I think you're giving him too much credit there, too.
Yeah, maybe, because you couldn't see what else he was going for, really. Bombers have got the ball from the throw-in. Collier bombs away. It bounces almost to the middle, almost went through the umpire's legs. McDonald tipping Woody there. Oh, slipped out of a Smets tackle brilliantly, and now puts it in front of Josh Green, who's got the little legs pumping. The bounce is kind. He's 45 out. The kick is a horrible wobbling mongrel, and he's very lucky to score a behind, and the Bombers cannot kick a goal. 5-8-38 to 4-4-28. Doc Larkins for Elmore Oils.
And he's very lucky not to re-injure his hamstring there. So Silvani about to come back on. I think he had a little subluxation of the right shoulder. Wearing the long sleeves. They've checked out the shoulder. He'll be back.
Wiedering goes long to Curnow at halfback. McDonald tipping Woody. Great tackle. Has to be rewarded. Brought the bigger man down.
Grabbed him by the one arm. Once you grab him by the one arm, it's really hard to...
And then plays on instinctively. Knew Danaher was running into space, Lee. Danaher gets it. 35 out, set up by McDonald, Tippenwoody. He'll line up for his third and Essendon's sixth.
Exactly what you want. The small player who's got the speed to chase, tackle, draw the free kick, and then the skill to be able to set up the leading target.
10 points is Essendon's lead. Time on second quarter, 23 minutes gone. Low scoring game. Essendon by 10 points. Danaher, 45-degree angle. Punt road end, 48 metres out. He's missing and missing by plenty. Out on the full. In a kick, it's probably fair to say, Jim, really befits this game.
Yeah, exactly right. It's been error-riddled, but interesting battle going on with Liam Jones. You thought Danaher was in for a massive day, but this quarter Liam Jones got back on top of him, a few intercept marks.
So Daisy Thomas, back pocket, goes long to half-back.
Clearing ball, no one able to mark. Charlie Curnow off the pack. Swings Carlton forward to the centre line. Casbolt one out here with Hartley. Hartley made a clean spoil. Collected for the Blues by Wright. Hand pass to Fisher. Plucky little player. Bob's like the proverbial, dare I say it, cork in the ocean. His kick is not clean. The Bombers managed to almost mess it up as Collier fumbled. They get it back. Hurley gives to Merritt, and he's like a cork in the ocean too. He's forced to go backwards, and Heppel takes a mark inside the defensive 50. Kick short to Zaharakis, steers it wide. McDonald, Tippenwoody was an optimistic target. Wiedering came over the top of the big fist, put it over the boundary line for a throw-in. Cruiser with a triple word score, I'm told, is worth 20, Tone.
Yep. But
would be blown away by a McDonald Tippenwoody triple word score at 60.
That is game over. Ball on the wing, northern side, 10-point margin. Essendon leads. Carlton, though, really pushing. Murphy at the front of the pack, has to kick quickly. No one there. Hurley holds up at half-back. But the run, the free flow, everything Essendon had in the first quarter lacking. That's a great 50-metre kick. Got McDonald, Tippenwoody. He can go short. I was going to go short or long, obviously. Decides to go short, allowing Heppel to just ghost back behind Petrevski-Seaton. Take the mark between wing and half forward. Play on. Danaher leads to his feet. Neat half volley pick up. Handballs over the head of Jones. Picked it up. Then he's tackled. Then he threw it away. And it's just the juggler trying to do one too many tricks there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I've really got him. I'm going to show you one more. And you didn't need to show it. Free kick to Jones at half back.
It's like their papers get marked more harshly, though, because they dare try something a little bit creative. And it should be the other way round. Clearing ball up to the wing. No one able to take the mark. Silvani's got it. Heppel tackles him. And there'll be a ball up Bombers' side of the wing.
Yeah, the handball's into space for Danaher, but he made a mistake of taking possession rather than just trying to keep the ball, knocking it on. And
he had nowhere to go. He was running towards the boundary, so he hand passed it back over his head into play, kept it alive, got it back, is tackled straight away, and of course you get buried for that. A free kick here to the Bombers.
Yeah, Tim, on the Ray White countdown clock to half time. It is 1 minute and 44 seconds to go. So Essendon have it on the wing and lead by 10 points.
Carlton in this quarter have kicked 2-3 to the Bombers, 3 behinds. Heppel from forward of the wing, kicks to within 40 of goal. Danaher edged out, couldn't get into the contest. Waller is there. McDonald, Tippenwoody couldn't work the magic in that cramped space, and the ball is over the line for a throw in. About 30 around, left forward pocket. Bombers almost desperate for a goal here, just to give themselves something to take in at half-time and be able to look their coach in the eye with. As at the throw-in, it's Bellchambers and Cruiser. Carlton got to defend hard here. They've defended brilliantly in this quarter. Picked up by Stewart for Essendon. He's immediately mobbed. And there's a pack. There'll be a ball up 45 out. The Bombers still searching for that late goal.
Yeah, Jim, under a minute to go. Essendon have it into attack.
Yeah, exactly right. Carlton have had a great quarter. They just need to finish off and not let Essendon kick a late one here.
Yeah, they've only scored 3 behinds in this quarter. Carlton 2 goals. Under a minute, well under a minute left. Essendon at half forward. Bellchambers, the tap. It's on the deck. There's a stack of players there. Stewart brought to ground by Daisy Thomas. Going nowhere. We get another stoppage as time continues to roll on. Still a minute and 2 to go. So, good chance for the Bombers to get one. They're 35 metres out. Cruiser the tap. Rope by Zaharakis. Gave to Merritt. Kicks over his shoulders. Lost ground. Allows Kerridge to pick it up for Carlton. Kick it 30 metres right to the middle of the ground. Goddard there. Went to ground. Lamb went to ground, picked it up, kept his feet. Really good chance now for the Blues. He's kicked it out in front of Pickett. If it bounces up, he's got a metre on Gleeson. Takes him on this way, that way, zigzag. Goes back to Bokhurst. Bokhurst has to kick around the shoulders to a central position. Heppel there, front of the pack, can't take it. Should be a free kick. In fact, it is going to be paid. And bravely, Dyson Heppel held up for the Bombers. 5-8-38 Essendon, 4-4-28 the Blues. 28 minutes gone for RACV Business Insurance as Heppel's kick. Halfback on the southern side. Casbolt there. Toe pokes it to Lamb. So Carlton will get the stoppage, Tim. I don't know how much time remains. Indeed, there is...
Hopefully not much time.
11 seconds. So Carlton have got to just hold up, or clean possession really, and hope for the best. So Essendon will lead at half-time. It is a 10-point margin at the moment as Heppel, halfback, can't pick the ball up. Bell Chambers, hands and knees, has it, and that'll do us. And one stat I do want at half-time, Jim, how many stoppages in this quarter? Because if you love stoppages, man, it is life of Brian. You have been a meaning of life. You've just been gluttonous. Have a look at that. 5-8-38 with another stoppage about to be paid. 5-8-38 to 4-4-28. Essendon by 10 points with 2 goals. Actually 3 points in that quarter. 2 wonderful goals to Joe Danaher in the first quarter. A couple of goals to Matthew Wright, equally proficient as well. Means half-time lead is Essendon's. It is 10 points. 38 to 28. It was 22 points at quarter time. We're about to start play in the second half with Greater Western Sydney well on top of Melbourne, leading by an even 6 goals, 36 points, 67 to 31. Second quarter brought to you by RACV Business Insurance. And they can tailor the right cover to suit your needs. 13 RACV, the number to call. So half-time wrap is coming up. Jim and Lee to cast their eye over what's been pretty tough going, but Essendon with the noses in front by 10 points across Australia. Well, thanks to KFC, you're listening to 3AW Football.
Footy highlights for Vic Super. Vic Super's conscious investment option. Super that makes a difference.
If you like stoppages, Lee, you are absolutely loving this.
I reckon our RACV Business Insurance man from those ads, he'd like stoppages.
If you're like me, it's just fascinating stuff.
He would love this at the moment.
Not exciting to watch.
Ball's on its way, trying to shape it right to left. Did it successfully. Well done, Matthew Wright.
Snap to the goal square, and it's put through by Wright.
The amount of times mum's tried to do something and said it's good food, eat it, and it's still 4-day-old vegetables that you didn't eat 4 days ago. This is what we've got here.
It's just fascinating stuff.
Boring. 5-8-38 Essendon, Carlton 4-4-28, half-time wrap coming up for On Deck, the small business loans specialist, ondeck.com.au. Turn that no around with On Deck. They'll get your small business loans into order. Get on with it. So, it is 10 points to margin here, Essendon's way. Play just started in the nation's capital. It is the Giants 67, Melbourne 31. Lee Matthews, Jimmy Bartel, it is tough going. And what's tough, really promising game, really open, but Carlton have got it on their terms and certainly not out of it. Even though they trail by 10 points, Essendon 38, Carlton 28. Well done for the Blues to keep it a contest. Let's have a look at a stat that both intrigues you for Canterbury Timber Windows at windowsanddoors.build.
Well, I'll buy in. Actually, you mentioned clearances. There's been, 30 clearances, which is below average in a way, Tone. My average is sort of 70 or 80 during the game. So it's not as many stoppages as we're thinking. What has happened is the scoring's dried up completely. Obviously, Essendon only scored 3 behinds. And I think it was partly Carlton got their tackling pressure up. They had 20 tackles that quarter. If you're sort of getting into that figure, you're actually at least putting the pressure on the opposition. And their back half was able to fairly much stop most of Essendon's thrust and on that rebound they kicked a couple of goals themselves. They're in the game, Carlton, no doubt about that, but they've got to make it a low-scoring game. That's really the way they play because they just don't look like being a 12 to 15 goals team. But they're going to have to keep Essendon under probably 10 or 11 goals if they think they're going to win. That's the manner in which they play.
And I completely agree. And the stat probably for me, Tony, is the 53 marks for Carlton. We spoke about when Carlton play well, they have that high uncontested game where they kick and mark, especially around their back half. And it felt like they really took the pace and the air out of the game. And that's, as you were saying, Lee, they want to have a low-scoring affair. 10 goals beats 9 goals sort of thing. And the best way for them to do that is they get not only their 6 defenders, but another couple from the wing, roll back, and they just patiently build the ball up and kick it around. And take the speed out of the game. And it's almost like Essendon fell in the trap with, geez, we're playing really well in the first quarter. We're all getting our hands on it. And they start spreading really early from the contest. And Carlton started to win the contest, get their hands on it, and get it up in their half, and then just possess the ball really well in that quarter. And I thought Joe Danaher was in for a big one, and Liam Jones fought back really well, taking 3 contested marks in that quarter.
We just didn't see him in the first quarter. We could visualise, and certainly Fantasia, that play that he injured himself, ran off half back, and then just created the space over the top. But once that happened in that quarter, and that was from a turnover at half back. Green ended up actually having a shot at goal from the rebound turnover. But basically, Carlton have stopped Essendon running into space, which is one of the strengths of their game on their good days.
This is the halftime wrap. 3RW football for On Deck, the small business loan specialist. Turn that now around, ondeck.com.au. Essendon by 10 points. We're underway in the third quarter, and the Giants have extended their margin over Melbourne to 42 points. I have Dr. Peter Larkins here, and Doc, of real concern surely is this hamstring injury to Orazio Fantasia.
Yeah, I think he's been having one of his best seasons, and his game was over halfway through the first quarter with a high severity right hamstring after a speed. He just came off and changed his boots a couple of minutes before that, Tony. He was obviously feeling like he went from the longer to the shorter stops, Jimmy, and then ended up, he really struggled. He didn't sort of even jog off. He was really just basically not moving that right leg. So, and the question will be, which part of the hamstring, because there's several different parts you can tear. There can be the high grade, low grade. The tendon takes weeks compared to simple muscle. So there's all those things. You say, why do they need to scan? Don't you know it's a hamstring? Of course they do. But it's the sort of hamstring that normally you're talking 4 to 6 weeks when you see that sort of immediate reaction. So we'll wait and see what happens in terms of the scan. So that would put him out of home and away, as I said before. And he was very frustrated, Orazio, because he's been doing pretty well. I mentioned Jack Silvani, who Jimmy, when's the last time you had a team with 6 players wearing long sleeves? I mean, on a dry day. I know you love the wet weather, mate, but six players on the Carlton team, Tony, is my stat of the day. Jack Silvani, one of them, came off cradling the right arm, and I thought, oh, gee, this doesn't look good. Spoke to them briefly, didn't even examine him, and the pain went away. So he clearly had one of those nerve pains in the shoulder that we call a stinger or a burner, Tony.
Yeah.
When it sort of slips a bit loose.
Do they return it all, Doc, or is it just momentary and then you move on?
No, you move on and you go back and it looks completely normal until you land the wrong way the next day or tackle the wrong way the next time, I should say. So it can happen, in 1 minute into the game again. So they'll obviously be looking at that, but his strength and his movement were fine for Jack Silvani. So it's really Orazio Fantasia, the story of the day so far for the Bombers.
And just a momentary heart flutter for Essendon when Joey Danaher went for the back of his knee, sort of, I suppose. He's at the lower, the high bit of the hamstring. It's all good, but what would he have felt, do you feel, Doc?
There's lots of possibilities. I mean, he got run down from behind early on by Liam Jones, and he got up and he said he jarred at the knee when he came off in one of the rotation, and they didn't need to examine him, and then he was sort of feeling it. So that he may still be feeling a little bit of soreness in that knee. He's got some strapping on it. They didn't examine him. So you hope it was just a bit of awareness of the jarring and not hamstring territory low down behind the knee.
Excellent stuff. Thanks, Dr. Peter Larkins. Essendon and Adelaide next Saturday night in Melbourne. Jim, while you just said casting your eye, just a couple of the big ball winners before we get to the news headlines. And we start with Essendon. 5-8-38 over Carlton, 4-4-28. Who's doing it for them?
Yeah, Zacharakis has 18 possessions, Merritt 17, Goddard 15, who got off to a flyer early in the game. And Myers has 14, doing a great job on Gibbs, who only has the 9. And for the Blues, Doherty is always across halfback 15. But Mark Murphy really worked his way into the game with 13, 8 of them contested with 4 clearances. And young Petreski-Seaton 12. Good
stuff. Half time here for On Deck. On Deck, the small business loan specialist. ondeck.com.au. Low scoring game. Essendon have a 10-point margin. It was a 22-point margin at quarter time, but it's 5-8-38 Essendon to Carlton, 4-4-28 around the grounds for a Vodafone. And at Vodafone, the $5 roaming, use your plan overseas for just $5 extra a day. Vodafone, power to you. And the Giants really putting Melbourne totally and utterly to the sword. Lead by 43 points. We're about 10 minutes into the third quarter there.